Colin Trevorrow is out as the director of Episode 9. Star Wars fans everywhere are, mixed. Let's talk about it. What is up, YouTube? It's Josh. This is the Den of Nerds. I am joined with
James from the Rebel Scum Podcast.
Mr. James from the Rebel Scum Podcast. You guys have seen us together. We do Star Wars things. We talk about Star Wars. James, holy crap. Colin Trevorrow is out as director of Episode 9. So this is ridiculous for a number of different reasons. We haven't talked about this. So your first reaction, your first thoughts about Trevorrow being out.
Can I still swear on the channel? Is this still
of course
good? Holy shit was through my head, and then I immediately text you and Brock because Brock, who does the Rebel Scum Podcast with me, because we just did our 58th episode, and it's uploading to YouTube as we speak, and I'm in the grocery store while this happening, and I'm just in line, the longest line ever, and I saw it, and I thought that's a joke. And I clicked on it. I was like, holy shit! And
that's what I thought.
Yeah. And then I put it on the Rebel Scum Podcast Facebook page because every time we do a show, something drops. And so I was like, guys, it happened again. And then you were immediately like, Skype me now.
Yes. It's crazy. I mean, so look, my first reaction, you know this, we've talked about this. I didn't want Trevorrow on the film. I actually did not like his pedigree. I didn't think he was right for it. Episode 9 is probably the most important part of the trilogy, arguably. And I just I never trusted the guy. However, it happens, and it feels like the sky is kind of falling. Like, they've lost, Lord and Miller, and now this comes out in the statement they made. Did you see the statement they made?
I actually didn't read it all because, like I said, I was in the grocery store. I texted you and Brock. You said Skype me. I drove home, put my groceries away, and now we're here. So
well, it says now we're here. It says something to the effect of creative differences. Like, we've had a great time collaborating with him, but it's become clear that our visions for the film are different. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, that is exactly what you said with the other two. Like, what do you think is going on here, man? Like, is this...
I think they hired this guy too soon. I think you have Episode 9, which comes out in still just over 2 years still. You have Rian Johnson, who I think heard this too, where we both, I'm pretty sure, heard that Rian Johnson was writing 8 and 9. That was what I understood when he first got hired. Then he was just doing 8. Okay, fine. And then, Jurassic World came out and it blew everyone away, and they hired Trevorrow, which obviously he was in talks before all that was going on, but still. And then, they did the same thing with Gareth Edwards with Godzilla. Like, Godzilla crushed the first weekend. They're like, he's our director. And do you need to get someone right away and he was at 4 years before his movie's even coming? And then Carrie Fisher passes away, which could be the X factor to everything. Right? It could be Carrie Fisher. It could have changed everything. Lucasfilm wanted to go in one direction with her character and how they're going to handle it, and he wanted to go the other. And that could be because that's a huge hurdle for Lucasfilm, is how to handle Leia in Episode 9.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I see it as being an issue, but it feels like, unless the movie was completely supposed to be focused on her, it feels like something all the parties involved could have figured out. You know what I mean? Like, this feels like the radical shit. Like, there has to be something going on with Lucasfilm. Lucasfilm has to be making some kind of a shift here, because for them to just get rid of Lord and Miller and then just to get rid of Trevorrow, like, everything in me says, you don't make that move unless you have to, because the bad PR. You know that as soon as you say this, Josh from the Den of Nerds and James from the Rebel Scum Podcast are going to sit down and do YouTube videos about it and talk crap on you. So it's like, how do you make this decision knowing all of that, knowing that could be the fallout? I think the only reason you do it is if, like, you're making this radical shift and he is just not agreeing with it. You know what I mean? Like, how much do we know about where they're at in production, actually? They can't be very far in.
Well, he was rewriting the script. After when they decided when they had to figure it out, he was rewriting either Rian Johnson's script or whoever did an initial draft of it. So he was having a big part in this pre-production of this film, and I'm glad they got rid of him now. Not got rid of him. I'm glad they mutually split now instead of 5 months into production. Yeah. I mean, but Ron Howard could probably use another.
Yeah, I know, right? Are they just gonna make this the Ron Howard show and just have Ron Howard do all these films? Just go around. In all seriousness, though, I think didn't they reported that one dude was coming in to do rewrites, right? I reported on it.
Yeah,
it was several weeks ago. Yeah, the Harry Potter guy, right? And he came in and he's doing these rewrites, and so you write that in there. Look, that's pretty normal. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty normal to have that kind of a thing happen. But when you look at it in hindsight and you now see that they're split, I mean, there had to be friction then, then.
Yeah, there was something that they wanted to be rewritten, and which good on them for doing it early on. Like I said, instead of 5 months into shooting, they were like, this needs to be fixed now. He probably was like, I can't do it for whatever reason. They hired a guy to do it, and then maybe there's a snowball effect.
Do you think that Trevorrow is like this guy that's like, no, I must make my arturist stamp on this movie and this franchise? Does he strike you as that kind of a guy?
I don't know much about him either. I know that his first film was a Sundance film, Safety Not Guaranteed. I absolutely love that film. Great. Beginning to end, I really like that film. Jurassic World, you know what Jurassic World is? It's like a low caliber J.J. Abrams film, if you break it down.
Right.
J.J. Abrams is the master. I mean, look, he brought back Mission Impossible, he brought back Star Trek, he brought back Star Wars, and then Super 8 is a nostalgia trip all of its own.
Yeah.
He's the master of bringing things back as little depth and whatnot that he usually carries with them. Like, he doesn't go forward with it, and that's why I think something like Star Trek Into Darkness doesn't really work, because he doesn't know how to expand, but he's the master of bringing you back into the world and reminding you of what you love about that world. And Jurassic World was very much that, but on a smaller, like a lesser scale. Like, it wasn't the quality, I would say. So you're almost getting like a B-list J.J. Abrams. And maybe if you're Lucasfilm at this point, you're like, Rian Johnson, I'm guessing they think he hit this one out of the park. You've got Ron Howard. Yeah.
Dude, you just gave me a thought. What if they get Ryan to do 9? Oh my God!
I wanted to
get Ryan in.
Yes, if he wants to do it, which I can't. Aside from being exhausted, your face.
We saw him in Orlando. Yeah. You know he wants to do it. I mean, look, and that is the perfect solution to this problem.
And who would know the ending to his story better?
You know Correct.
You
correct.
And to just totally go against what I just said, J.J. Abrams would know the second part to the story he just told in The Force Awakens better than like anybody else, but he's not doing it. So Rian Johnson, who would know where he wants to go with these characters? And if he wrote down, this is where X character goes, and then Trevorrow's like, nah, I'm going to bring X over here. Maybe it doesn't sit well with anybody.
I think it's the only move. I just can't see why they wouldn't want to do that. Now that I think about it, it's the perfect move. It would quell everybody's concerns, especially if The Last Jedi is as good as we think it is going to be. Then, I think that's the perfect way to kind of reestablish the faith. And you're right. Like, nobody would know where to go with it better than Ryan. Maybe that's part of the whole thing, was like, because, going back to what you said earlier, it was weird that it was reported that he was writing 8 and 9. Like, that was a report out there. Like, I heard it from multiple people, and the fact that then they played this kind of game where Ryan was like, no, I didn't have anything to do with it. You know what I mean? Like, it felt a little weird. Maybe they were trying to sort of hedge their bets, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, be able to re-announce him taking over the project or something. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, would you do that at the expense of the guy you brought in? It's such a weird, like,
yeah.
What? Yeah, I'm on board. I would say get him. J.J. Abrams, what if he wanted to come back? Would you be okay with that?
I would be okay with JJ doing it, but I don't think JJ wants to do it. I really don't. You know what I mean? Like he didn't even really want to do Force Awakens. He kind of he didn't get bullied into it, but they basically they made him make the film that he made, and I think that it was perfect to bring it back. But I don't think he wants to do with Star Wars at all again. Like even when he says like, "Oh, the Knights of Ren movie would be cool," like. No, like I think for JJ that film was an incredibly taxing, soul-crushing thing. You know what I mean? I don't think he wants another piece of that. Where I don't know. I think Ryan's the perfect guy. I can't really think of anybody else to take over. Yeah, my mind is still just kind of buzzing. This is all just so fresh. You know what I mean? I definitely think Ryan's the way to go. But you said something earlier where you said, would you do that at the expense of bringing on the guy? I mean, that's a fair point, right? Like, either way, it's still bad that Disney did this. You know, whatever the reason, whatever happened, it's another thing in the line, right? This is just another bad news coming out of Disney. So, I mean, what do you think? Will they ever address this? Like, will they ever come out and be like, yes, we're kind of screwing up right now, this is bad? Or do you think they're just going to just chug along?
I think they're going to chug along because they haven't made a bad film yet, right?
That's true.
So, what if The Last Jedi? What if I love The Last Jedi, you love The Last Jedi, but Bill hates The Last Jedi? It is not the nostalgic, fun film that The Force Awakens was. This is now a dark, gritty, blah, 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 blah. Whatever. We have no idea what it's going to be like, but let's just say, for argument, and we've said it before, this might not be the most popular Star Wars film. But it could be the best one, but it might not be the most popular one. What if it doesn't hit the way The Force Awakens hit, and it only makes it makes Rogue One money? Where do they go from there? What's the next step for them? Do they go?
Okay, so I think that there's no way it makes Rogue One money. Like, I think that the thing about Star Wars, this is my answer to your question, and really the crux of the issue, is that I think the saga films are a straight up dead lock for that kind of money. I think you don't even have to necessarily put out the highest quality of film, and at this point it still makes that kind of money. So like the best example I can give is the prequels. Like the prequels are not super solid films, and they still made $1 bajillion. You know what I mean? And I think that The Force Awakens is arguably much better than the prequels as a movie. So like things are at an all-time high. So I don't know if that's necessarily the issue. What I think the thing that could happen is exactly what you're saying. People might not like it. It might not sit well with them. You know what I mean? But what if that ends up being really good? You know, like what if that's okay?
Yeah. I think the issue is 9 has to be a completely different Star Wars film than we've had.
Yeah.
Because we can't just have Return of the Jedi again, which when Trevorrow was hired, everyone said, well, he'll make like a happy ending Return of the Jedi type film. He's perfect for it. And now it's kind of how everybody accepted him into the role.
The thing that's interesting is I think that we'll be talking about this exact issue for a long time to come.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see who they get, you know, what he says, the reports, because that now the thing is now we're going to start to hear the rumors, right? I mean, you know, you heard the rumors about Lord and Miller kind of come out after the whole thing had happened. And you're like, oh my goodness, they can't fold socks, you know what I mean? And all sorts of weird things like that. So that's what we'll be getting. Is there any last things you want to say about this in this video, James?
No, I'm really curious to see who they bring in as the replacement for him. Rian Johnson is my number one. Having not seen The Last Jedi, It might change after I see The Last Jedi. I hope not. But Rian Johnson definitely has to be number one. And number two, George Lucas. No, I'm just joking.
Hey, look,
I don't have a number two, though.
It's funny you say that. I'd love for George to do it, honestly. My number one is Ryan, of course. Look, he should get the gig. The actors know him. The process is there. Kathleen Kennedy loves the guy. I mean, like, let's go. I think The Last Jedi is going to blow our minds. And so he's my first.
He was the best at Celebration. He loved the experience. He sold his film. He wasn't up on the stage oh, we made a Star Wars movie, blah 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 blah. He didn't. It wasn't paint by numbers the way like J.J. Abrams was 2 years before that. You see the interview. He obviously loved what he was doing, but he was like, I'm here, blah, blah, blah. Gareth Edwards was very excited. But Rian Johnson sold his film and was giddy the entire time he was on the stage.
You could just feel the enthusiasm coming off of him. And, like, just the way even those photographs he took and just how he was like, this is so amazing. And, he came out and signed everyone's badges. Like, it just felt so right. And that's why, like, I did that video after Celebration, he's the new George Lucas. If they hand him 9 completely, then yeah, he is the new George Lucas. You know what I mean? And like, I would be ecstatic for that.
I totally know that. Looper's one of my favorites.
Yeah, Looper's a fantastic film. He's a fantastic director. But we're gonna leave it there. Let us know in the comment section, what do you guys think about this? Always willing to have a conversation with you guys about this. James, where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find me at Rebel Scum Podcast on YouTube and on Twitter and all that stuff, at Petzafina, PEZZ or ZFINA, depending on what country.
Yes, that. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and nerdy day. See ya!